Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Speakology 2.0. I'm Ryan, and I'm very happy to learn English with you today.
And I'm Alex. Thank you for joining us for another simple and practical English lesson.
Today's topic is very useful for daily life. We are going to learn English in the kitchen.
Yes, we will talk about cooking and food using simple English. This topic is perfect because everyone eats and many people cook.
Let's start with the word kitchen. The kitchen is the place where we cook food.
Yes, it is usually one of the most important rooms in a house. Many families spend a lot of time in the kitchen.
You can say, I am in the kitchen. That is a simple and clear sentence.
You can also say, my kitchen is small but clean. That sentence describes your kitchen.
Now, let's talk about some basic kitchen items. These are things you use when you cook.
One important item is a stove. We use a stove to cook food.
Another important item is a refrigerator. We keep food cold in the refrigerator.
You can say the milk is in the refrigerator. That sentence is very common.
We also have a sink in the kitchen. We wash dishes in the sink.
You can say, I am washing the dishes in the sink. That is a simple present continuous sentence.
Let's talk about cooking tools. These are the tools we use to prepare food.
We use a knife to cut vegetables. We use a spoon to mix food.
We also use a fork and a plate when we eat. These are basic and important words.
You can say, I need a knife to cut the onions. That sentence is very useful in the kitchen.
Another tool is a pan. We cook eggs or meat in a pan.
You can say, I am frying eggs in a pan. That sounds natural and simple.
Now, let's learn some basic cooking verbs. Verbs are action words.
One common verb is cook. You can say, I cook dinner every day.
Another verb is cut. For example, I cut the vegetables.
We also use boil. You can say, I boil water for tea.
Another important verb is fry. For example, I fry chicken.
You can also use bake. You can say, I bake a cake.
These verbs are simple but very important in kitchen English.
Now, let's talk about ingredients. Ingredients are the things we use to make food.
For example, if you make a salad, you need vegetables.
You can say, I need tomatoes, cucumbers, and lettuce.
If you make pasta, you need pasta, sauce, and maybe cheese.
You can say, I am adding cheese to my pasta. That sentence sounds very natural.
Common ingredients include salt, sugar, oil, rice, flour, and eggs.
You can say, please pass the salt. That is a common sentence at the table.
Now, let's talk about meals. We usually eat 3 main meals a day.
Yes, breakfast, lunch, and dinner are the main meals.
You can say, I eat breakfast at 8 a.m.
Or, I have lunch at work.
You can also say, I cook dinner for my family.
These are simple sentences about daily eating habits.
Now, let's talk about favorite food. People love to talk about what they like to eat.
Yes, it is a very common conversation topic.
You can say, my favorite food is pizza.
Or, I love spicy food.
You can also say, I don't like very sweet food. Talking about likes and dislikes makes conversations interesting. Alex, what are you cooking today?
I am cooking rice and chicken. I'm also making a small salad.
That sounds delicious. How do you cook the chicken?
First, I cut the chicken, then I fry it in a pan with oil and spices.
That sounds easy and tasty. I think I will try that recipe.
Now, let's talk about simple recipes. A recipe is a set of instructions to make food.
Yes, you can describe a recipe in simple steps.
For example, first, boil water, then add pasta.
After that, cook it for 10 minutes. Finally, add sauce and cheese.
These steps are clear and easy to understand.
Now, let's talk about taste. Taste describes how food feels in your mouth.
You can say, the food is delicious.
Or, the soup is hot and tasty.
If food has too much salt, you can say, it is too salty.
If food has too much sugar, you can say it is too sweet.
These simple adjectives help you describe food clearly.
Some people cook at home every day.
Yes, and some people only cook on weekends.
You can say, I cook at home every evening.
Or, I usually order food, but sometimes I cook.
Both sentences are common in daily life.
Now, let's talk about eating out. Eating out means eating at a restaurant.
You can say, I eat out on weekends.
Or, I like to try new restaurants.
You can also say, the restaurant serves delicious food.
That sentence is useful when talking about places you like.
Alex, do you enjoy cooking?
Yes, I enjoy cooking very much. It makes me feel relaxed and happy.
What do you usually cook?
I usually cook simple meals like rice, vegetables, and chicken.
That sounds healthy and balanced. I also like cooking, especially pasta and soup.
Cooking is a useful skill for everyone.
We will use easy English. We will speak slowly and clearly. We want you to understand every sentence and feel confident when you talk about cooking in English.
Let's start with recipes. A recipe is a set of instructions that tells you how to cook a dish. It usually has two parts. The first part is the ingredients, and the second part is the instructions.
Ingredients are the foods you need to make the dish. For example, if you want to make a cake, the ingredients might be flour, sugar, eggs, milk, and butter. You can say the recipe needs 3 eggs and 2 cups of flour.
That's right. When you talk about ingredients, you often use numbers and measurements. For example, you can say, add 1 teaspoon of salt. You can also say, use half a cup of milk.
Common measurements in English are teaspoon, tablespoon, cup, gram, and liter. In some countries, people use grams and liters. In other countries, people use cups and teaspoons.
Now let's talk about instructions. Instructions tell you what to do step by step. For example, you can say, first, mix the flour and sugar. Then you can say, next, add the eggs and milk.
We often use words like first, next, then, after that, and finally. These words help us explain the order of the steps. They make our instructions clear and easy to follow.
For example, if I explain how to make scrambled eggs, I can say, first, break 2 eggs into a bowl. Then I can say, next, add a little salt and pepper. After that, I can say, heat a pan and add some butter.
Then you can say, pour the eggs into the pan. After that, stir the eggs slowly. Finally, cook until the eggs are soft and ready to eat.
That is a simple recipe, but it shows how we use clear steps. When you talk about cooking in English, try to explain each step in a simple way. Short sentences are better for beginners.
Now, let's talk about taste. Taste is very important when we talk about food. There are some common words to describe taste.
The basic taste words are sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. For example, chocolate is sweet, chips are salty, lemon is sour. Some dark coffee can be bitter.
We also use the word spicy. Spicy food has a strong and hot flavor. For example, many Indian and Mexican dishes are spicy.
You can say, this soup is very salty. Or you can say, this cake is too sweet. When you say too, it means more than you like.
Yes. For example, the curry is too spicy for me. That means it is more spicy than I can enjoy. But you can also say, the food is very tasty. Tasty means it tastes very good.
Another common word is delicious. Delicious means very, very good. You can say, this pasta is delicious. It is a strong and positive word.
Now, let's talk about texture. Texture is how the food feels in your mouth. For example, bread can be soft, toast can be crispy.
Crispy means it makes a light, crunchy sound when you eat it. Fried chicken can be crispy on the outside and soft on the inside.
We also use the word crunchy. For example, carrots and nuts are crunchy. They're hard and make a strong sound when you bite them.
Soup is usually smooth. Smooth means there are no big pieces inside. For example, tomato soup can be very smooth.
We can also say creamy. Creamy food has a lot of cream or soft, rich texture. Ice cream and some sauces are creamy.
Now let's imagine we are cooking together. Alex, what are you making today?
Today, I'm making vegetable fried rice. It is simple, but it is very tasty.
I like to cook it on weekends.
That sounds good. What ingredients do you need?
I need cooked rice, carrots, peas, onions, garlic, soy sauce, and oil. I also use a little salt and pepper. Sometimes I add eggs.
How do you cook it?
First, I heat some oil in a pan. Then I add chopped onions and garlic. I cook them until they are soft and smell good.
After that, what do you do?
Next, I add the carrots and peas. I cook them for a few minutes. Then I add the cooked rice and mix everything together.
Do you add the soy sauce at the end?
Yes, I add soy sauce and a little salt and pepper. Then I stir everything well. Finally, I cook it for a few more minutes and then it is ready.
That sounds very simple and easy to explain. When you describe a recipe, you can use the present simple tense. For example, I add, I cook, and I mix.
Yes, we usually use the present simple when we explain how to cook something. It makes the instructions clear and natural.
Now let's talk about asking questions in the kitchen. Sometimes you want to ask for help. For example, you can say, "Can you pass me the salt?"
Or you can say, "Where is the knife?" You can also ask, "How long should I cook this?" These are very useful questions.
You can also ask about taste. For example, does this soup need more salt? Or is the sauce too spicy?
When someone cooks for you, you can give your opinion. You can say, "I like it." You can also say, "It tastes great." It is polite to say something nice.
If you want to be more specific, you can say, "The chicken is very juicy." Juicy means it has a lot of natural liquid and is not dry.
Dry is the opposite of juicy. For example, if you cook meat too long, it can become dry. Then it is not very nice to eat.
You can also say the vegetables are fresh. Fresh means they are new and not old. Fresh vegetables usually taste better.
When you talk about cooking at home, you can say, "I usually cook dinner at home." Or, "I like to try new recipes." These are common sentences.
You can also say, "I'm learning how to cook," or "I'm not very good at cooking." It's okay to be honest.
Yes, cooking is a skill. Some people are very good at it. Other people are still learning.
Now let's talk about breakfast. What do you usually eat for breakfast, Alex?
I usually eat eggs and toast. Sometimes I eat fruit and yogurt. I like simple and healthy food in the morning.
That's nice. I usually drink coffee and eat bread with butter. On weekends, I sometimes make pancakes.
Pancakes are sweet and soft. You can eat them with honey or syrup. They are very popular in many countries.
When you talk about what you eat, you can use the present simple. For example, I eat rice for lunch, or I drink tea in the evening.
You can also talk about your favorite food. You can say, "My favorite food is pizza," or "I love spicy noodles."
And if you don't like something, you can say, "I don't like bitter food," or "I don't enjoy very spicy dishes."
Talking about food is a great way to practice English. Everyone eats every day, so everyone can talk about food.
That's right. Food is part of our daily life. When you learn food vocabulary, you can use it very often.
We talked about recipes, ingredients, taste, texture, and how to describe cooking steps. These are important topics when you are in the kitchen.
Let's start with eating with family or friends. When you eat together, you often talk about the food. For example, you can say, "The food looks great." This is a nice sentence to say before you start eating.
Yes, and you can also say, "It smells good." Smell is also important when we talk about food. If food smells good, it makes you feel hungry.
After you taste the food, you can say, "This is really delicious." Or you can say, "I love this dish." These are positive and polite sentences.
If you are at someone's house, it is very kind to say, "Thank you for the meal." You can also say, "You are a great cook." This makes the person feel happy.
Now let's imagine a small conversation at the dinner table. Alex, I will start. "Alex, can you pass me the bread, please?"
Sure, here you go. Then I can say, "Would you like some salad?" This is a polite offer.
"Yes, please, just a little." That is how you can answer. If you do not want something, you can say, "No, thank you, I'm full."
Full means you have eaten enough and you do not want more food. You can also say, "I'm very full." That means you ate a lot.
Sometimes people ask about the recipe. For example, they can say, "How did you make this?" Or, Can you tell me the recipe?
Then you can answer in a simple way. You can say, it's very easy. I use chicken, onions, and some spices. Then you can explain the steps in short sentences.
Now let's talk about cooking habits. Cooking habits are things you usually do in the kitchen. For example, you can say, I cook dinner every day. That shows your regular habit.
Or you can say, I only cook on weekends. Some people are very busy during the week. They do not have time to cook every day.
You can also say, I prefer home-cooked food. Prefer means you like one thing more than another. For example, I prefer tea to coffee.
When you talk about eating out, you can say, I eat at restaurants twice a week. Or, I don't eat fast food very often. These are common sentences.
Fast food is food that is prepared quickly, like burgers and fries. Some people like it because it is fast and cheap. Other people prefer healthy food.
Healthy food is good for your body. For example, vegetables, fruits, and grilled chicken are usually healthy choices. You can say, I try to eat healthy food.
If you want to talk about your diet, you can say, I am on a diet. That means you are trying to eat less or eat healthy food to lose weight.
You can also say, I don't eat sugar, or I don't drink soda. These sentences show your food choices.
Now let's talk about special meals. Sometimes we cook for special days, like birthdays or holidays. You can say, we cook a big meal on Eid, or we have a special dinner on New Year's Eve.
On special days, families often cook traditional food. Traditional food is food that is part of your culture. You can say, this is a traditional dish in my country.
When you describe a traditional dish, you can talk about the ingredients and the taste. For example, it is made with rice and meat, or it is very spicy and full of flavor.
Flavor is another word for taste. When food has a strong and nice taste, you can say it has a rich flavor.
Now let's talk about ordering food at a restaurant. Even though this is not exactly cooking, it is still about food in English.
Yes, when you look at the menu, you can say, I would like the chicken soup, please. This is a polite way to order.
You can also say, can I have a glass of water? Or, I'll have the grilled fish. These are simple and natural sentences.
If you have a question, you can ask, what do you recommend? That means you are asking for advice.
If you do not understand something on the menu, you can say, what is this dish? Or, what is in this? These are useful questions.
After the meal, you can say, the food was great, or everything was very tasty. It is polite to give positive feedback.
Now let's talk about mistakes in the kitchen. Sometimes we make mistakes when we cook. For example, you can say, I burned the rice.
Burned means the food was cooked too long and became black or very dry. You can also say, I added too much salt.
Yes, that happens sometimes. If food has too much salt, it can taste very strong and not nice.
You can also say, the cake did not rise. That means the cake stayed flat and did not become big and soft.
When something goes wrong, you can laugh and say, cooking is not easy, or I need more practice.
Practice is very important. The more you cook, the better you become. The more you speak English, the more confident you feel.
That is a very good connection. Cooking and learning English are similar. Both need time and regular practice.
Now let's have a short conversation about weekend cooking. Ryan, what do you usually cook on weekends?
On weekends, I like to try new recipes. Last weekend, I made homemade pizza. It was fun and a little difficult.
What ingredients did you use?
I used flour, yeast, water, and salt for the dough. For the topping, I used tomato sauce, cheese, and vegetables.
Did it taste good?
Yes, it tasted very good. The cheese was melted and creamy. The crust was crispy on the outside and soft inside.
That sounds delicious. I usually cook something simple on weekends. I like to make soup because it is easy and healthy.
What kind of soup do you make?
I make chicken soup with vegetables. It is warm and comforting, especially in cold weather.
Comforting food makes you feel relaxed and happy. Many people have comfort food from their childhood.
Yes, for me, my mother's cooking is comfort food. It reminds me of home and family.
Food is not only about eating, it's also about memories and feelings.
That is true. When you talk about food in English, you can also talk about your feelings. You can say, this dish reminds me of my childhood.
Or you can say, I feel happy when I cook. These are simple but meaningful sentences.
Before we finish, let's review what we learned in this episode. We talked about cooking verbs, ingredients, recipes, taste, texture, and conversations at the table.
We also talked about cooking habits, healthy food, ordering at restaurants, and describing traditional dishes. These topics help you talk about food in many situations.
Try to use these sentences in your daily life. When you cook, think in English. When you eat, try to describe the taste in English.
You can start with very simple sentences. For example, I am cutting vegetables, or this soup is hot and tasty.
Step by step, your English will improve. Small sentences can make a big difference.
Thank you for listening to English Speakology 2.0. We're happy to practice English with you.
Keep learning, keep cooking, and keep speaking. See you in the next episode.
Goodbye, everyone, and have a delicious day.